Hi, this is Alimayo Arango of littleguy.cgi.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make clothes and outfits inside of Blender 2.71. So let's get started. Okay, if this is your first time in Blender, I recommend you go to File, User Preferences, go to Input, and then choose Select with left click. Blender's default select is with right click, and this may confuse you if you're coming from Adobe programs or other 3D programs. Also, if you happen to be on a laptop, if you put a check mark right here, this will make the number keys at the top of your laptop respond like the number keys on a full keyboard. Also, while we're in here, click on add-ons and scroll down. See where it says Mesh Loop Tools? You want to put a check mark right here, and this will just allow you to do the options that I show you as you go throughout this tutorial. As a matter of fact, you can put a check mark under where it says Mesh F2, Mesh Inset Polygon, Mesh Loop Tools, and also Mesh Relax. Okay, you laptop users, when I was talking about the keys at the top of your laptop keyboard, basically on the full keyboard all the way to the right, there's normally a number keypad, and those number keypads are the keys that normally allow you to spin your view around. So by putting that check mark under Emulate Number Pad will make the keys at the top of your keyboard just respond and allow you to do the different view changes on your laptop. Okay, I learned just recently a bunch of different ways of, or maybe I should say a few different ways of modeling clothes. I mean, there's obviously many different ways of doing this. These ones I'm going to show you are ones that I learned and that I like. Okay, when it comes to modeling clothes, basically clothes are designed to go on a human form. So what you can do is take advantage of the mesh that you have and use the fact that it's in a human form to allow it to make your clothes more easily. And that's what we're going to do with this first method I'm going to show you right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to hold my shift button, my middle mouse button. I'm going to roll in with my mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to select the female mesh. In Blender, you operate in two different modes. Object mode, where typically when you come into Blender, you're in object mode to allow you to deal with individual edges, vertices, edges, and faces. You have to go in edit mode. So we're going to click right here and go into edit mode. Now that we're in edit mode, you can see right here, you can select vertices here, edges here, and faces here. What we're going to do is we're going to use paint select. And with face select on, we're going to paint a basic t-shirt shape onto this female mesh here. Okay, now we're just going to hold our middle mouse button, which allows us to turn. And we're just going to, I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. And I'm just rolling the middle mouse button to zoom in. And still with face select on, I'm hitting C yet again. When you already have your things, your faces selected, and you hit C again, C will allow you to just add on to the selections that you already had, so you can just keep painting your selections in. And even though we can't see, his hair is covering up, we know that the faces are there, so we'll just go ahead and paint there. Okay, so now we have this basic t-shirt shape selected. Oh, missed a spot. We'll hit C and paint that in right there. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and rotate it around again. Okay, and I see we missed another spot right here. So what I'm going to do is, with the face select on, I'm going to hold shift and select here. And since I missed this spot right here and the spot right there, I'm actually going to not be a knucklehead and unhide. And I'm going to hide the hair for a second just so we can see what's going on. So see this fem hair right here? I can because I have it listed as F hair and know it's the female hair, I'll just hit the I, temporarily take away the hair, just hold the middle mouse button to turn, and here we can see I missed this whole spot, being a knucklehead and not taking the hair away. Anyway, so now we have that. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn back to the front. So now that we have this selection here, we don't want to mess up our mesh that we're dealing with. So what we're going to do is hit Shift D, left click to lock in, and then we're just going to take our manipulator and just push to the side. So now just that quick, you can see we basically have a shirt for a female body, and it's actually shaped to the female mesh. Okay, now one thing with this shirt mesh that we have now, we can't leave it exactly the same size. You see when I take the manipulator and I just pull it back over, you see how it intersects? Because it's perfectly the same size as the mesh we obviously took it from, it'll cause problems. So the way that we can deal with that is we'll just pull it to the side a little bit again. Normally when you scale, you hit S to scale. There's another scale that is Alt S. Make sure these screencast keys are on. Alt S will actually make something bigger. I mean, it's pretty much perfect for making clothes bigger. So what we're going to do now is hit Alt S, and then as we pull, you'll see how it got just slightly bigger. So now when we push this back on, you can see now you don't see that you know, kind of like when you could kind of like if I push it back, you see that? So just by hitting Alt S, I'm just going to hit Control Z to get out of that. We can you know, deal with the issue of see right there. It's good to look around. So well, I guess that's probably because I moved it. But we also can hit Alt S while it's on here. Just do a slight pull or push. Whoops, opposite direction. There we go. And I mean, you can make this be a thick close, thin close, whatever you want. You also, what you can do is we're going to go to Edge Select. We're going to hit, actually, I mean, I'm going to take this, or the main reason why I'm going to take this off, and a good reason why it's useful to manipulate this new clothing mesh while we're still inside of this object. A good reason to pull to the side is simply for the ease of selection. If we keep it on the body and then we deselect it and then we go to deselect it again, there's a good chance we're going to select this body right here. So it was just easier to pull it to the side. Anyway, now that it's set up like it is, and I'm using the manipulators because one of the advantages of just using these manipulators and only these manipulators to move this clothing is you can easily pull it right back on and get it into place quickly. Okay, one issue we have with creating clothing this way is you can see that the clothing looks paper thin, and obviously we don't want that. So what we're going to do is hit A to deselect everything. We're going to hold Alt, and with Edge Select on, when we select an edge, it selects the whole edge loop. So just an easy way if you need to grab an edge loop, just hold Alt, edge, it'll grab right there. Now what we're going to do to make it look like this has some thickness is we're going to hit E to extrude, then right click. So what we did was we just created new geometry. Wait a second. Yeah, it created an edge loop, but I didn't want that. So you hit E to extrude. Oh, look at that. That's interesting, I guess, because it's has a subsurface on. Anyway, you hit S to scale and you can get your thickness right there. And you see how the subsurface modifier on here is making this have this smooth look to it. You can hit Control R to actually put a purposeful loop cut in here, and now you'll get, you know, kind of like an edge on your clothing. And then we'll do the same thing here. I just hit the middle mouse button to spin to the side. We're gonna hold Alt and select this edge. We're gonna hit E to extrude, left click to lock in. So when we hit E to extrude, we just do it to create new geometry. We don't do it to, you know, push or pull at this point. Anyway, with that new geometry there that's created, you're gonna hit S to scale and just scale in just a little bit. And then just to have it be like the other side, I'm gonna hit Control R. See that purple line is my preview line for a loop cut. You put your preview line right here, right where you want it. Left click to lock in, and now you can have more of an edge there. And pretty much you would do this wherever you see a skin showing through, or where it will be getting close to the mesh's actual skin. So we'll hit E to extrude, left click to lock in, hit S to scale in, and then we can just hit Control R, put a loop cut in, and push that right to the edge. There we go. Okay, what is that what I want? Is the scale? Not exactly. If you have issues like this is actually annoying me because it's not allowing me to see what I want, you can just go right here to your subdivision surface modifier, hit this I, and it will temporarily turn off your subdivision surface. And now what this will allow you to do is be able to control the thickness that you're going for more easily. So I'm going to hit Control Z. Hit Control Z to take that all the way off. And I'm going to hit Hold Alt. And with Edge Select on, I'm going to select here. I'm going to hit E to extrude again. I'm going to left click to lock in. When we hit E to extrude, we just created new geometry. Now we're going to hit S to scale in just a little bit. And now we're going to hit E to extrude and then on the Z axis just to scale it down a little bit just for thickness. I'm going to roll with my mouse wheel out. I'm going to go to over here, and we created this edge but we don't have it actually going in. So what we're going to do with our edge select on, we're going to select hold Alt and select that edge. Then we're going to E to extrude on the X axis. See that red line right there? That line is showing me where this will extrude to. So I'm just going to extrude in just slightly. And now I'm just going to go hold the middle mouse button, turn. I'm just going to go to the other side. Do the same thing. I'm going to hit A to deselect everything. Hit A again just to make sure. So everything's selected. Then hit A again, and that lets me know for sure nothing is selected. So now I'm going to, with the edge select on, I'm going to select this edge right here, holding Alt. Allows me to grab that entire loop cut. Now I'm going to hit E to extrude on the X axis and just push in slightly. I'm going to roll with my middle mouse button to zoom out. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn the view. I'm going to roll the mouse button, middle mouse button in to see right here. I'm going to hit A to deselect everything, A to select everything. Again, I'm just hitting A to select everything just so I know for sure that if everything's selected with this selection, when I hit A again, everything's absolutely deselected. So with the edge select still on, I'm going to hold Alt, select this edge right here, hit E to extrude, left click to lock in. I did the E to extrude just to create a new edge right there, new geometry, even though it looks like nothing happened. Now I'm going to hit S to scale and scale in just for that little bit of thickness. Then I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis just to take it Z axis. It's kind of weird. Here. Oh, it is, though. It's hard to see from that. Okay, so there we go. So now I'll just turn the subdivision surface modifier back on. In Blender, if you have something selected, like see we have this edge selected, if you have oh, I don't like that. Let me hit, this edge is still selected. This is the edge that we pushed up. When we push this edge up, it actually came through this clothing. The way you can fix that is just hit S to scale and just scale in. And now it fixed that problem, so I'm glad that we actually saw that. Because we have this edge selected, as long as you have a vertice, an edge, or a face in Blender, you can hit Control L, and the entire object that has that other vertice, edge, or face selected will be grabbed. Okay, so I'm holding my middle mouse button to turn. I'm rolling with the mouse button to zoom out, holding Shift to the mouse button to pan, and now I'm just going to take this manipulator and pull this shirt right over onto the female mesh. And now you can see we actually have a little bit of thickness here, a little bit of thickness at the neck, and of course these different things can be manipulated. So it's very easy to create a shirt or pants using the actual geometry you have, and just using Alt S to make it actually a little bit bigger. Now, for those who are concerned about polygon levels, when I push this shirt off, you have all of this here. If this character is only going to have this on, obviously you can go and you can delete all of this and then just bring this on, bring this in here. And then what this will do is, of course, this will replace what you deleted. So it'll just lower your polygon count down. So that's your option. I mean, a lot of times I'll leave it like this. Like I'll actually leave the body there just because I like being able to easily put clothes on and off the people. Okay, so I'm going to pull this to the side again. Now we're just going to do a quick repeat for the pants. Let me click and bring her hair back. So what we're going to do is pretty much the same thing. We're going to go, we are on edge select now. We're going to select here for face select. We're going to hit C for paint select, and we're going to paint all right here. Just where we would want pants to be at. So I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn. And now I'm going to hit C yet again. Just paint, we're just painting where we want pants to be at. And we're just going to check to make sure everything's selected, and it is not. See this right here? When you sit there and you hear me say A to deselect and then A again I select everything and then I totally deselect, it's because of this. Like, I wanted to just select, it's not a big deal, but I wanted to select just her legs, and yet this is still selected. Easily dealt with. I'll hit Z, sorry, I hit Z to go transparent. Reason why I'm hitting Z to go transparent, so I'll select every vertex here. Now I'm going to hit the C key for my paint select, and with paint selected, if I roll my mouse wheel, it gets the deselection size gets smaller. I roll it the other direction, it gets bigger. And when I hold the middle mouse button, you see I can deselect. Very useful. Then I right click to get out of it. Anyway, we're going to hit C, roll the mouse wheel just to shrink down that area of influence or paint influence, whatever, down. I'm going to select all this right here. Hit C again, get this here. Right click to get out of paint select. Up right here. Hit C to paint select again. Up. And there we go again. So I think this time we have everything. Okay, I'm going to do just like we did before with this selection. We're going to hit Shift D. We just duplicated all of those faces. We're going to left click to lock in. With those faces still selected, we're just going to take a manipulator and we're just going to push out. Just like this, we'll push it past the shirt, rolling with the middle mouse button. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Roll in with the middle mouse button, and I'm going to do just like before. S is normally what you use to scale. We're going to use Alt S. And the reason why we're doing this is so that this isn't so tight to the skin of that model that it causes like weird artifact. And so like that. Now we'll pull it and try it on for size. To manipulate, I'm going to hold Shift and my middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to roll the middle mouse button to zoom in. Oh, there we go. And see, now we have, pants there. So we'll, wait a second. Yeah, sometimes when you're looking at, depending on the angle, say it looks off there, but it actually is good. It's not, these faces of the pants that we created are not going over or intersecting with the faces of the actual legs, which is what we want. So what I'm going to do is push this off. You know what? Yeah, I guess the view is making it look weird. No, it's good. So we're going to push this off yet again. And what we're going to do is, you might sit there again, remember, because just the way I think, I'd be like, well, just change it on here. It's just, the reason why I'm pushing it off instead of just doing the Alt S on here or the changes on here, it's just easier to see, it's easier to select. But, if you want to leave it on there, you can do that. That's fine. So I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan, zoom in with my mouse wheel, and I am going to hit A to select. To deselect, I'm going to hit A again to select everything, just to be sure. I'm going to hit A again to deselect. We're on face select currently. We're going to select edge select. I'm going to hold Alt and select this edge right here. I am going to not do the mistake I did last time. I'm going to temporarily turn off my subsurface. I'm going to hit E to extrude, left click to lock in. We just created new geometry, though it doesn't look like we did anything. We're going to hit S to scale in just a little bit. Then we're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. And again, the thing for this is just thickness. See how it's coming through right there? We'll just hit S to scale, and that will take care of the problem there. We'll spin right here. Excuse me. We're going to hit A to deselect, A to select everything, A to deselect. And we're going to, with this edge selected, we hold Alt. Remember, if I just select edge, I just grab one edge. When I hold Alt, you see that? I grab the entire loop. So you want to definitely lock in your mind all these time-saving maneuvers. Okay, so we're going to hit E to extrude, left click to lock in. extrude to new geometry, hit left click to lock in again, hit E to extrude on the Z axis just to go up some. And if you had a mirror modifier, you can actually, if you had a mirror modifier, you wouldn't have to do this on either side. That's an option for those of you who are used to Blender, so you don't have to, manually do each side like I'm doing. Though sometimes there's benefits to actually having everything not look exactly the same on the other side. Anyway, with the edge still selected, I'm going to hold Alt, select right here. I'm going to hit E to extrude, create new geometry, left click to lock in. Even though it doesn't look like anything happened, I'm going to hit S to scale. Then I'm going to left click to lock in, hit E to extrude on the Z axis to take this up. And now with that edge selected, I can hit Control L. There's some people that were saying in the comments, it's L, it's not Control L. Don't ask me, I don't know if it's in my mind or what, but it seems that L sometimes grabs everything and sometimes it doesn't. Control L seems to do it every time, so that's why I use Control L. Anyway, with this all selected, I'm going to grab this and just push this back on here, try them on, and then we'll just grab a face on there or anything on there we can, hit Control L. And we'll just pull this on. Now we have, a fairly easy pants created. We'll turn this back on. Fairly easy pants and shirt made. And, you can put details in. Whatever you want. That's just the first method I'm showing you guys. Okay, now let's just give her a boot. So what we're going to do is even though I left the pants on, I can go to face select the face here, hit Control L, grab the entire pants and push them off to the side. So the line is holding shift in the middle mouse button to pan, the line's right there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit A to deselect that. I'm going to hit A again to select everything, A again to deselect everything. Then I'm going to hit C with the face select on. And grab all of these faces right here. I'm going to right click to get out of paint select. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to hold C or push C. C is you just push it, your thing comes up and then you paint and it stays on until you let go. Until you right click. Holding shift in the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hit C again. Just trying to grab all the faces, and we're not going to actually worry about that side, and I'll show you why. Okay, so we have all this, and I'm just going to hit Z to go transparent. I'm going to hit C. Now remember, C paint selects, and then if you hold the middle mouse button while in paint select, you deselect, which is great. So what we're going to do here is, still missed a spot. I'm just rotating with the camera view with the middle mouse button. I'm going to hit C yet again to grab here. One more time, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to zoom around. And looks like we got the whole thing. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate the faces. I'm going to hit left click to lock in. I'm going to take my manipulator and I'm going to pull to the side here. One of the nice things about making clothes and things for the characters to wear that you're creating is they follow the clothes and the boots, whatever. Again, they're designed to follow the form of the clothes that the characters wearing. So you can use the form of the mesh, and then once you even have the form itself, you can use itself to go ahead, as you'll see here. So basically, we know that boot, there will be I guess it's called a tongue. This thing that allows you to actually put the boot on and off. So we're selecting all of these edges with edge select on. I'm just holding shift to select those edges, right? Holding the middle mouse button to turn, shift in the middle mouse button to pan. Then I'm going to hit the V key. This is the first time we've used this so far, this tutorial. The V key rips things. So right now this is connected, these edges, right? When I hit V, as I just did, now you can see, like, I'm going to left click to lock in. I'm going to go to face select, right? I'm going to select these faces. I'm just going to hold shift and select these faces here. I'm now going to I'm going to do vertice select. I'm going to select this vertice here. I'm going to hit Shift S, which brings up my Snap to menu. I'm going to select cursor to select it. Puts my 3D cursor right here. I'm going to click right here, go to 3D cursor. What this means when I do this is everything will pivot and rotate around this 3D cursor. That little thing right there, you see. So now I'm going to go back, hold shift, and I'm holding shift just so I can select multiple faces. And now what I'm going to do is hit R to rotate on the X axis, and you can see that red line there is showing me a preview of how I'm going to rotate. See how that's what the rip did. It ripped this edge right off. It ripped it from here, which makes it look a lot more like a, you know, like it should look. So somebody could actually put this thing on and off. Yeah, this next part we're going to use the shape of the shoe itself. What we're gonna do is go to edge select. We're gonna select this edge. See this thing, if it gets in your way, I want to select here. This is right in the way of my manipulator. You hit control space, it temporarily takes it out of the way. So now I'm just gonna select these edges right here. I'm holding the middle mouse button to turn, selecting that edge right there also. Excuse me. Now what I'm gonna do is hit Shift D, left click to lock in. I'm gonna hit control space to bring the manipulator back. Take the manipulator and pull those edges up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Y-axis. See how these look weird right now? They look strange like that. That's because of the subsurface. So I'm temporarily going to turn the subsurface off. Now it looks like they're together. I'm going to hit Control L to grab all of them. I'm now going to hit E to extrude on the Z-axis to give them a little bit of height. Left click to lock in. I'm going to hit Control L to grab all of them. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan up a little bit. I'm going to take the manipulator and push this down like this. I'm going to hit S to scale it in just slightly. Make it so it looks a little bit different than where we took it from. I'm now going to hit Shift D. Take the manipulator and just push it back, push it up. Shift D, yet again, left click to lock in. I'm holding the middle mouse button to turn. Taking the manipulator, just pushing back, pushing up. And now I'm going to hit R to rotate on the X axis. See that axis there is showing me up. It's messed up. I'm going to right click to get out. Sorry, I forgot to take this off. You want to turn this back to medium point. If you were having problems, that's probably why. Medium point, it was rotating on the cursor. It was right here. Now medium point, which is Blender's default, yeah, when you start off in Blender, it's medium point. This will rotate on itself. So I hit R to rotate on the X axis, and you can see it's rotating right in place like we want it. I'm going to hit Shift D, left click to lock in, and I'm just taking the manipulator to just adjust these. I'm going to hit R to rotate on the X axis. You know, obviously rotating because now this is, you know, straight up and down rather than like that. And I'm just adjusting it so we have a nice view to see. I'm going to hit Shift D yet again, pull this up, hit R to rotate on the X axis. Fairly simple. And see how it's going off the side now? You just pull it, you know, just like that. See how it's twisting? You want to really get detail, you can hit R to rotate on the Z axis. See that blue line up there? It's showing me that I'll rotate right off that blue line. You can try to, you know, even put this into place kind of like this. And I'll hit Shift D one more time, left click to lock in, take the manipulator, just pull this up and push this out. Now when I hit this subdivision surface to see, you see how weird that looks? And what we're actually going to do is I'm going to turn this off temporarily. I'm going to hit Z, and most of the time we've been using C for paint select. If you hold Control and then you're going to hold down Control, not press, hold Control, okay? You're then going to hold your right button. So you're holding Control and your right button at the same time. While holding Control, my finger is pushing down the Control. Now my finger is pushing down the right mouse button. Just push it down right now. I'm going to drag a loop around this entire boot right here. Because the boot is transparent, I grab everything here, right? Right now we are currently in the female mesh object. Even though it's boots and pants and shirts, we're technically in the female mesh body right now. What we're going to do is we're going to hit P. This brings up our separate menu. We can separate by multiple things. We want to separate by selection. Watch the female body over there. And if you look to about 3 inches to my right, or to my right, you'll see it says female body .1. As soon as I choose separate by selection, see that other female body popped up? So because we're in edit mode and we've been in here pretty much the whole time, we're going to click here. We're going to go into object mode, right? I'm going to hit Z, select on there. Okay, so this was the original. Now here is the new object created. I'm going to double click right here. I'm going to name this boot.l and then hit enter to lock that in. Okay, the reason why we came out here is because we are actually out here. This is its own object, and now everything that we made so far, the different clothes are inside the female mesh or female body, .001 object. The reason why we came out here was so we could go inside of this object, because we did detail right here, and we're actually going to have to do some individual work here. We don't want to have to do this twice. Why make double the work? So normally you'll have a mirror modifier on things, and a mirror modifier is a way of doing half the work. However, you don't always have to use a mirror modifier, and I'm going to show you that here now. So we still have our subdivision turned off. We're going to make a sole for this thing. So we have this loop cut right here, right? We're going to hit Control R, and that purple line is showing you where my loop cut is going to go. So we want it like this. I'm going to left click one time to lock it in, or one time not to lock it in. If you left click a loop cut one time, you still can move the loop cut up and down. So now you put it in position. I want it right there. Now I'm going to left click to lock. Now it's locked in. Now I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to hold shift in my middle mouse button to pan up. Now I'm going to hit Control R for yet another loop cut. I want to put it right in between, right there. So then I'm going to left click to lock this in. Now I'm going to hit S to scale. Like that. If the scale looks weird, it's probably because the origin point might be off this, because I brought this in from another place. We're going to actually bring this back in, so it's fine for now. When we turn this on, we can see we have a nice, looks like we actually have a sole here, but we still have the problem with these are messed up, these laces. The reason why the laces are messed up is because the subdivision surface sometimes will cause things that you don't necessarily want to happen. Easily fixed. And how we're going to fix that, we're going to temporarily turn this off. We're going to go to face select. We're going to, I'm holding shift, and we're just selecting the faces. We're just selecting multiple pieces along the path of each of these loops, because as soon as I select all of them, I'm then going to use Control L and grab all of them. Basically, when you are dealing with subdivision surface, which was already on the female, we didn't put that on, it was already on her, it makes things look soft. It's very good for organic things. However, it doesn't tend to be too good for mechanical or hard edge things. However, it's easily dealt with. With those faces selected, it allows us to hit Control L. So now we have all of all of these laces selected. Now we're going to hit Shift E, and Shift E allows us to put a mean crease on these laces. So basically, when I pull these laces, see that pink line? It basically made it so these laces have a hard edge. So basically, when we come in here, now you can see the laces are still, for the most part, they still look like they're supposed to. We see this lace doesn't look right, so we're going to hit Control L. Here, we're just going to grab these different sections again, hit Control L, different pieces of face. Just going to push that out slightly. And do the same thing here, hold shift. And the reason why I'm grabbing different pieces of this, because I know from working on this tutorial before that if I grab one piece and hit Control L, it doesn't, these are actually separate pieces. So, and then when I R to rotate on the x-axis, just to adjust that a little bit, we'll do the same thing here. I'm just holding shift, grabbing multiple faces, then I'm hitting Control L to grab all of these. Take the manipulator, pushing straight up. I'm going to hit R to rotate on the x-axis. And there we go for that boot. So now we did, we had to do the Shift E. We had to do the different things with the sole. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go on a full keyboard where you see a number lock. If you hit right next to the number lock, there's a backspace key. You hit that, and it takes you into local mode, which you can see right here, which is just this shoe right here. So I'm holding the middle mouse button to pan, and what I'm going to do is I am going to put the cursor here. Again, basically, just so you understand how this cursor moves, wherever I right click, the cursor will go. I can also hit Shift C and the cursor will center itself. Most of the time you're better off moving the cursor by hitting Shift C, but just so you know, you can right click and move the cursor where you want. And we're actually hit Shift C to center this, and we're actually going to hit A to grab everything in local mode. Everything else is still there. We're just in a special mode in Blender called local mode. And if you open up Blender and you're like, what the heck happened to everything, make sure you look up here, because of your local mode. In local mode, everything is still there. You just can't see it because you're in local mode. So anyway, I'm going to take this. This was the left boot, so I'm going to pull this to this side of the boot. I'm going to hit 1 to go into front ortho local mode, which just means basically straight on and off, kind of like blueprint mode. Anyway, I'm going to turn this from the medium point to that 3D cursor again. And what that means is everything in here now will rotate and pivot off of this 3D cursor. So this is useful for when you want to duplicate an object. So what I'm going to do is hit Shift D. All right, I just hit Shift D. I didn't click anything. So here's this shoe here, right? I right click. It's still created. It just snaps back to the point that it was, which is exactly where we want it to be. And now what you're going to do is you're going to hit S to scale on the X-axis -1. And what that does, it just takes this shoe and it makes it, puts it on the other side, so it's how it should be. And so now we're gonna hit backspace to go back into the regular mode where you can see everything. And now that they're created, I'm actually gonna hit, because we're still in edit mode. Don't want you to get confused. We're in edit mode in the object that is the boot. All right, so I'm going to hit Z to make everything go transparent. I'm going to hold Control, hold the right mouse button, grab this boot. I'm going to turn this back to medium point. I'm going to push this next to the other boot. Now I'm going to hit A to select everything, right? I'm going to hit Z to make everything go transparent. Take the manipulator, push this to the side. This is currently its own separate object as a boot, but I actually want it to be with the other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan just so I can see. Now I'm going to hit Tab. So now we just went from edit mode into object mode. All right. So in object mode, it's almost like we're out here, with everything else. What we're going to do is, with this first selected, we're now going to hit Shift and select this female body, .001. So we selected this first, and then we selected that. The order is important. Now we're going to hit Control J. And basically what just happened was when I hit Control J, this separate object that was boot 1 or whatever became one with the female body. So now when I hit Tab to go into edit mode, we can see our boots are here. So, okay, now that we're back, we have everything back inside of this female body mesh. What we're going to do is we're going to hit Z to go transparent, hit A to deselect. We're going to hold Control, hold the right mouse button. We're going to draw a loop around this one boot. We're going to take the manipulator. We're going to push this right over that foot where it should be. And now what we're going to do, once it's generally in place, I'm going to roll the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Holding the middle mouse button to turn, I'm going to deselect everything by hitting A. And then with the face select on, I'm going to select one piece of the mesh. Then I'm going to hit Control L. And even though, see this right here, it doesn't look like it's selected. It is selected. It's just because this part of the mesh is intersecting with the other part of the mesh. So now I'm going to hit Alt S. Now notice I purposely didn't grab the shoelaces because they'll have problems if you try to do Alt S scale with them. So I'm going to push it. I'm going to right click. You ever have a problem? Like if you see, I tried the Alt S and I'm right next to this. You want to have more control with Alt S. You just move your mouse a little bit further away, hit Alt S, and then you'll tend to have more control if you do it a little bit further away. So now we have, we have our boot there. And there's issues, for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to keep myself from going in there and messing with it. Anyway, I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to do the same thing right here. I'm holding Control and the right mouse button to grab this boot. I'm going to push this boot into place here. I'm going to zoom in with the mouse button, hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hit Z to go solid. I'm going to select face, I just want to make sure I'm on the actual face. The boot appears that I am. I'm going to hit Alt. I'm going to move my mouse further away before I hit Alt S. I'm going to hit Alt S. And now I'm going to pull down just slightly. Oh, crap. See that? I'm still selected on here. Oh, no. I guess because let's see. Basically, what I just did when I pulled, I was selected here. So you want to make sure you're not selected on anything else. And I guess when I selected a face, maybe I selected the other leg. I'm going to hit Control L. Okay, that's still grabbing there. And try grabbing this face right here. And make sure that when you scale, you don't do what I just did, where you have a piece of the female mesh. So I have this top part of the tongue, which is actually, you can see some separation. So this should be good. I'm going to hit Control L. There we go. So now it's just that boot and nothing else is selected, including, remember, you don't want to select these shoelaces when you do this. You'll mess up the shoelaces if you select them. Anyway, with the boot just selected, you're going to hit Alt S with your mouse a little bit further away so you have more control. You're going to hit Alt S and then you're going to pull and just make it the boot just bigger than, so you don't have a problem with intersecting faces. Okay, now we'll just turn this subdivision surface back on. Okay, now we created a shirt, some pants, and some boots for the female. So for the female mesh, and I'm just going to select right here. I'm going to select the face. I'm going to hit Control L. Actually, you know what? I'll keep them over there. If you wanted to do a quick coloring of these different things, we are in the Cycles renderer. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to go into render mode, and before I go into that, it's useful in Cycles to split your screen. So I'm going to split the screen. If you want to go into Cycles render mode, which allows you to see how your model is going to look when it's, colors on, and it's pretty much ready for you to render it out as an image or a video, whatever you choose to do. You just click right here. Right now we're on solid mode. You click rendered, and I'm going to hit tab because I have lights. You just can't see them. I have my these are layers in Blender, by the way, and I'm not going to get into that now, but I'm going to select here. I'm going to hold shift and my light layers will come in. So now you can see, some basic colors that I had on the mesh. Actually, it looks funny because we duplicated the mesh, it duplicated this stuff I had. Anyway, to do put some basic colors on here, whatever you want. We're in object mode now. We're going to hit tab to go back into edit mode. I'm going to hit Control L because I have this one face selected. That'll let me grab the entire pant leg there. So let's say I don't know. We'll make it a yellow. So we'll go here to materials, right? There's two. When you go to materials, it can be confusing to do this part. You don't want to click this plus right here. Just remember to click the plus that's to your right. You're going to click here. You're going to create a new material, right? Now you'll see this button right here. You click new here, and now you'll be able to pick your color here. You actually can change here to, in Cycles anyway, you can change to multiple different materials. We're just going to change the color, so we're going to select here. And you know what? I think I'm going to go with blue rather than what I say. We'll just make the whole thing blue. So with this blue selected here, with our we hit our plus here with this selection on here. We just click assign, and now you can see that all turned blue. And now we can just grab this and put this right on. And as soon as we let go, we'll update this right here. If you look close, you can see that there's actually the shirt's actually on. So what we're going to do is it just has the colors of the body. So what we're going to do is we are going to select the face. We're going to hit Control L to grab the shirt, just like we did before. We're going to hit a plus here. We're going to click new. Then we're going to select the color, and I'm going to select I think I'm going to select a dark gray. And then now with that selected, with that color selected and with the selection here, I hit assign, and now you can see the material, was just went where we're supposed to go on where I selected bits. We'll go to the boots. I'm rolling in with the middle mouse button. I'm holding shift and the middle mouse button to move. I'm going to just grab a face. I'm going to hit Control L. We'll make this like a brownish color, so we're going to do the same thing. Plus right here, new right here. Go to color. Darken it up some. This allows you to control the color. You push it up, obviously, well, it gets brighter. Push it down, it gets darker. And with that selected, what we'll do is, well, actually, I don't want it to be that dark. I mean, not. Okay, I'm going to hit assign, and now you can see that's in there. The color went right with that boot. We can actually select right here and then hit Control L, and we actually can go to that same color here and click assign, and it will take that color and put it right onto the other color. Though it looks slightly different there. Anyway, we're gonna grab this heel right here, and I'm just holding shift as I select the different faces here. This thing's in my way. I'm going to hit Control Space to temporarily take it out of the way. You know, and I'm actually going to just select both of the sole, I guess you would say, not heel. Right now I have it standing on the mesh, so I'm just going to worry about what you can see, but normally you would, for animation, you would make sure you're at the bottom of the shoe as well. I guess I can see the bottom. What the heck? I'll grab that too. I'm going to hit C for paint select, and that allows me to easily just grab and paint there. Same thing right here. And I want a different color, so I'm going to click a plus right here again, new here, the color here, just a slightly darker gray. Then I'll just select the sign, and there you can see the color of the soles went. Oh, I see. I picked a different color for the one boot from the other. Let's fix that very quickly. I'm going to select the face right here. If you have a screen where the way my computer is set up right now, where you can only see some of your buttons, if you take your middle mouse button, click and hold, you can drag this, and it'll allow you to see your different buttons or move your buttons to what you need. So with face select and a face selected here, I'm going to hit Control L, and then I'm actually going to go here to right here, this material, and I'm going to select whoops. I don't want it to take out the sole. You can see, assigning materials to making the clothes this way, assigning the materials to the clothes. It's pretty simple. So with that selected, I'm just going to select this material here and click assign. So now the boots are both the same color. Okay, I'm going to grab, when you have two screens right here, if you want to get rid of a screen, when you split your screen like this, if you're like, how the heck do I get rid of this thing? What you can do is, see this arrow right here? The way I remember this, because sometimes you'll like try to get rid of it and you pull, see that? How like I pulled and it made another menu, and then you'll be like, oh, Try to get rid of that, pull, and then there's another menu. The way I remember it is I kind of think of this little arrow as an arrow, like it's pointing that way. It's pointing that direction. So I'm like, okay, to get rid of it, I have to follow the flow that way. So if you click and grab here, click and hold and pull, you'll see an arrow right there. It's hard to see, but there's about midway down, there's a little arrow. It collapses that window. I grab here. Same thing again. See the arrow? Collapses that window. I click and hold here, pull there. See, there's a big arrow there, and it collapses the window there. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this back to solid so I can show you another way of doing clothes besides this. But this way, it's pretty cool. It's fairly easy to do, and if you need clothes or an outfit quick, there you go. Maybe you wanted to make gloves on this character or something, like you would follow the same basic principles. Okay, so we're going to go back into object mode. Now we're going to move on to the male mesh model. So I'm selected on him, and because I'm selected on him, now when I hit tab, I go into the edit mode on the male mesh. And what I'm going to do with this mesh is I'm actually going to select right here. I got face select on. I'm selecting just these two faces here. I'm going to hit Shift S to bring up my snap menu. I'm going to select cursor to select it. The 3D cursor comes right here. And I actually came in here just because I wanted the 3D cursor right on the male mesh model. I'm going to hit tab, go back into object, and Blender, wherever you have wherever your 3D cursor is at, that's where new objects come in. So I want to bring a cube in. So I'm going to hit Shift A, and we can actually, because we're in 2.71, we can either hit Shift A, or if you're totally new to Blender, most of the time I don't show these probably. Like maybe some new people, this might help you out. I think you are better off learning the shortcuts, but if you have to do a project in Blender and you need it quick, you can come over here, see where it says create, you can click here, and these are your different objects that come into Blender. So I'm on the create tab. So where this 3D cursor is at, I click cube, and the cube popped in very small. I'm going to hit tab to go into its edit mode, then I'm going to hit S to scale this cube up. And I'm trying to get this cube to cover basically his upper body for the most part. I'm just going to position this. Also his neck, his head's like right in the center of that cube. Okay, what you're going to do with this cube is you are going to subdivide it. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to hit W. And where's my subdivide menu? Wait a second. Okay, so you're going to hit W. Your specials menu is going to pop up. Then you're going to choose subdivide. You're going to see your number of cuts come up over here. Your subdivide menu will pop all the way over here to your left. And you're just going to take this up to 2 cuts. And basically we're just going to take this cube and shape it to the male mesh body. So I took I'm holding middle mouse button to turn, shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Excuse me. I'm going to hold hit S to scale on the Y axis. Get it like that. I'm just pulling it in closer to his body. I'm going to hit S to scale on the X axis. Like that. And then to make it easier to see what's going on with this cube, if you go to your active data button, if you come down in Blender, if you change this to where it says texture, it is your normal Blender setting. If you change this to wire, it allows you to see, like normally to see through something we would hit Z. This allows you to actually, not hit Z, because Z, when I hit it, everything goes transparent. So by choosing wire here, it just allows it makes it much easier for you to be able to deal with your cube mesh as you shape it to fit, which eventually is going to become a shirt. So you're going to go to edge select. You're going to select this edge right here. You're going to hit R to rotate on the X axis. Tilt that down slightly. We're going to hold Alt and select this loop right here. We're going to hit S to scale on the Y axis. We'll grab in the back here. It's getting me confused and working in this wire mode at first, because if you're used to following my tutorials, normally the only time you'll see transparencies is when I'm using the transparencies to to grab things from behind. For this, because it's wire, you still only grab what you see, which is interesting. Even though you you can see through it, but it's definitely useful for things like this, and also for designing hair. So what I'm doing here is I'm just grabbing vertices. When I hit Control Space, temporarily take away that manipulator, hit Control Space to bring it right back. I'm just pushing these things in, pushing edges into. I'm gonna hit Control Space again, holding Shift as I select the edges to select multiple edges, just forming this to his body. Holding the middle mouse button to turn, holding Shift here. Alright, I selected an edge. Now I'm holding Shift to select multiple edges. Holding the middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to select an edge, hold Shift to select these edges right here. Hit Control Z, I'll pop both these out at the same time. And that's basically what we're doing, is we're taking a cube, and that's this other method. You're just taking this cube, the cube is giving you your geometry, and this cube, you can see we're making this into a shirt. And there are, you might sit there and say, well, why would you do that when the other way is so easy? Just like there's most of the time there's advantages to knowing different methods. The other way I showed you is it's very easy and it's very quick. But there's definitely advantages to knowing this method here. Okay, what we're going to do now is use some of Blender's tools to speed this up. So we're going to hit 1 to go into front orthographic mode. We're going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. We're going to change this from wire back to solid. We're going to have we don't need to have it on edge select. We're going to hit Control R. We're going to put a loop cut directly down the center of this. We're going to left click once to lock it in, left click again to lock it in the second time. We're going to hit Z to go transparent. We're then going to hit A to deselect. We're going to hit while it's still transparent, we're going to go to face select. We're going to hit B for box select, and we're just grabbing the half of this. So this half portion, we're going to hit X to delete. Bring a delete menu. We're going to select faces to delete that half of what's going to be a shirt here. We hit Z to go solid again. We have our 3D cursor right here and origin point directly in the center. So we're going to select the wrench for modifiers. We're going to go to mirror to put a mirror modifier on it. Now we'll only have to do half the amount of work. We're going to put a check mark here for clipping, and click this right here so it looks like this is a solid object. Actually, only this object, this part of the object exists. This is actually Blender's mirror mode right there on the other side. Okay, what we're going to do now is we are going to actually temporarily hide the male body, and I'm just going to hold with the face select on. I'm just selecting here, just selecting all those faces there. I'm going to hit X to bring it to the delete menu. I'm going to delete the faces there, and then I'm going to delete these faces here. So I'm going to hit X to bring it to the delete menu and delete the faces there. Now I'm going to put here's the male body right here in my outliner. I'm going to you just click this and it brings it back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to edge select. We're going to hold Alt N. Oh, look at that. It's not grabbing the edge right there. Okay. Let's hide the body, the male body again. And we're going to hit W to bring up our specials menu. Remember in the beginning I told you about the add-ons. That by clicking those add-ons, one of those add-ons in the beginning where we did file, user preferences, add-ons, was loop tools. If you put a check mark next to loop tools, you'll see this here, this menu here. If you did not do what we did in the beginning, you would not see this. You'll have to go back to file, user preferences, add-ons, and put a check mark there, and then you'll see this. So in loop tools, we're going to just click circle, And Blender does a nice job just making that squarish part right there circular for us. We're now going to do the same thing here. So we're going to hold Alt with Edge Select on, select right here. We're going to hit W to bring up our Specials menu, go to Loop Tools, and then we're going to select Circle. So just kind of nice. We're going to select this eye right here to bring our body back, our mesh body back. And now we're going to hit A to deselect. We're going to hit Control R to put a loop cut right here. And left click to lock in twice. We're now going to go to, with our edge select on, we're just going to adjust this so it fits the arm. So you want to have this one edge going straight through, like where the arm's at, and the other edges you want to be, kind of outside around the arm. So there should be two faces that your arm is pushing through. So now you're going to go to the face select. You're going to select this face. You're going to hold shift, select this face. You're going to hit E to extrude on the x-axis, and you're going to pull out to about there. It looks like a metal t-shirt, and that's kind of how you want it to look. You're now going to hit X to delete the faces here. You're now going to go to edge select. You're going to hold Alt, select this edge right here while holding Alt. You're going to hit W, then you're going to select Loop Tools and then Circle. And you'll see the Loop Tools if you did the beginning part in the beginning, File, User Preferences, add-ons, and then put a check mark next to Loop Tools. If you didn't do that, you won't see. Okay, with this edge select on still, we're going to go right here. Let me temporarily hold it. There we go. Just selected the eye to make the male body disappear temporarily. I have this whole edge loop selected here. I'm going to hit S to make it slightly bigger. I'm going to hit S to scale on the x-axis to make it a little bit wider. Not maybe Control Z. I don't want it doing that. I'm going to hit S to scale on the y-axis to actually bring it in. And I'm going to, just with the edge here, just pull this way just slightly to give his neck. Nah, I don't want that. I'm actually going to pull up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit hold Alt to grab the whole loop. Okay, and with that loop selected and with the edge selected, we're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. This up just like that. And we're going to hit S to scale it in just slightly. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to hit Control 2. And what that did was that put a subdivision surface on this shirt. We could have also just clicked matter of fact, I'll show you the other way just so you can understand if you're new to Blender. When I hit Control 2, this modifier automatically popped in on the shirt. If I click here, I erased the modifier, it just took off that. So the shortcut is Control 2. If you didn't want to do it by the shortcut, you could just click here, go up here, click the wrench, click here, and then click Subdivision Surface, and then the same thing happens. And then you would just change your view to 2. And there you go, right there. So now we're going to hit A to select everything. You're going to hit W to bring up your Specials menu. And then going to go to Shade Smooth. And you have a basic shirt right there. And what we're going to do is the same, very similar to what we did with very similar to what we did with the female mesh. I'm going to turn off the subdivision surface just temporarily. I'm going to hit A to deselect everything. I'm going to hold Alt with the edge select on to select here. I'm going to hit E to extrude. Doesn't look like anything happened, but it did. It made new geometry. I'm going to right click. When I right clicked, all it did was the new geometry is still there, but it just made it go exactly to the place that it was created in. I'm going to hit S to scale, like so. And then I'm going to hit E to extrude on the x-axis. You can see the red line coming out, show me a preview where this is going to go. I push in, just so I have some thickness there. I'm going to hit A to deselect, hit A to select everything, just so I know that everything's deselected when I finally deselect again. Same thing right here. I held Alt with the edge select, I'm going to hit E to extrude, create new geometry, left click to lock in, S to scale, and I'm just scaling in. And I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis to scale down. And I know I'm speaking fast, it's just because I went through these techniques before. So we're going to do the same thing yet again. We're going to hit A to deselect, A to select everything, A to deselect everything. We're going to hold Alt while holding the edge select here. We're going to hit E to create new geometry, left click to lock in, hit S to scale. So we're scaling in. You can see that right there. Same thing we did here, 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 and we did on the female model. We're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis to scale up. The whole purpose of this is just so, see that right there, how it's coming out? That's fine. Sometimes it's useful to have geometry pop out like that because it lets us know where it's at. Then we just hit S to scale and it just pulls it in. But the whole purpose of that is just to have thickness so that the shirt doesn't look like it's plain thin. Then we click our modifier and we can see the shirt. There it is right there. A basic t-shirt. Okay, now that you have your basic t-shirt, you can do variations on this. Now we have a mirror modifier on it, which allows us to, work quicker. Obviously, we were to pull out this side and have it go right out the other side. So we want to be able to do our variations. We want to be able to duplicate this shirt. We don't want to duplicate them in edit mode, because if I duplicate it or try to pull to the side, whoops, Control L. If I hit A to grab everything and try to pull to the side, because of the mirror modifier, it'll just stretch. So we're going to hit Control Z, so we still can duplicate to get our variations. We just have to go into object mode, because this shirt is a separate object from the male mesh. So what we'll just do, roll the middle mouse button to zoom out, I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. What I'm going to do is hit Shift D. So now I'm going to left click to lock in. I just duplicate that whole object. So I'm going to pull this whole object out here, right? So now we have this shirt object here. Now I'm going to click back in here to this shirt, and remember, the shirt is on top of the male mesh, but it isn't part of that object. So some of the variations that you can do are these. Okay, you can easily come in and adjust. Like I have the neck going up, you can easily come in, take your face select, grab all this stuff, and make the area around his neck bigger. So I'll hit X to bring up my delete menu. I'll select these faces, and I'll grab this right here. I'll hit Control L. I'll hit X to delete all that right there. So now we have a bigger neck area right there. I'm actually going to hit Tab to go into object mode and just push this to the side just a little. I didn't even notice this. We have this gap right here. So I'm going to turn off the... Okay. See this? We have this gap right here. We can just go to Edge Select. Select the edges there and hit F, and it'll fill that gap. So I'll just turn that back on now. But you can easily change the distance of the neck area. Move this around, and then once it almost takes on a different look just moving the neck area. Just like we adjusted the neck area. Suppose you want this to look like a jacket. We can select face select. Just grab these faces right here. Hit X to bring up our delete menu and delete those faces. This is where we curved in. We'll just delete them also. And now we have a similar. We have kind of like the beginnings of a jacket look here. From this basic shape, you can just keep expanding, like if you want a collar. And I would recommend that you temporarily turn off your subdivision surface, so I'll turn it off here. I'll go to Edge Select. I'll select, around the collar area here. I'll just select right here. I'll hit E to extrude on the Z axis, bring this up a little bit. I'll hit E to extrude, left click to lock in, and I'll hit scale to bring that out a little bit. Now I'll just pull to the side. Actually, let me scale that back some. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis to bring it down. And then I'll just pull this out. And then you just go back into your subdivision surface to see how it's looking. So now you see we have a color. We can keep playing with this color. We'll just go to our edges. We can grab here. Matter of fact, I'll hit Alt and grab the whole edge loop right here. We can pull this up so the color is higher. I just hit Alt and with edge select again. So now you can the color is more distinctive. I'll grab this again and pull up so it's even higher. Suppose you wanted to just this is like I said a jacket. This would be like a short sleeve jacket. Let's make it a proper jacket. And to do that, what we'll do is we'll temporarily, with this eye, to temporarily turn off the subdivision surface so it's just easier to deal with. We'll actually I'll hit with face select on. I'll select this whole alt loop right here. And what I'm just going to do is just grab and pull here. And even though you can see some stuff popping out there, we'll just take it just like this, and then I'll hit Control R. So there's a loop cut. And I'm rolling my mouse wheel just to put a few loop cuts in there. I'll left click to lock in, left click to lock in again, and I'll just grab here, take the manipulator and pull out, and then we'll turn our subdivision on. And you can see now we have a proper jacket, and then we can easily go to face select, hold Alt, select right on the edge, and hit S to scale, and we'll even be able to scale down the size of our jacket. And you can even add on to more, like we have the collar right there. We can select right here, hit E to extrude on the Z axis just to bring this up a little bit. We'll temporarily turn off the subdivision surface. We'll hit E to extrude on the X axis, like this. And we can grab these vertices and start forming a kind of like another second color, like you might see on a suit. See how this looks strange here, by the way. Normally, a lot of times, if you've seen some of my other videos, you can select everything. You can hit Control N, and it will recalculate, and it will fix normals. And normals are basically which directions polygons face, right? You see here, even though I hit Control N, these stay the same. Because we're taking this and flipping this out, we're actually going to have to select these here, and then hit W to bring up our specials menu. And then to get that to look normal, we actually have to go to flip normals. And now you can see now it looks like it's supposed to. And it's kind of like the same thing right here, where it's actually flipped out. We would hit W to bring up our specials menu and click flip normals. And for here, how this looks weird, we just grab here and just pull out. And, you can play with this like anything. Like I often say, the more time you spend with it, the better. You click your subdivision surface, you have a better look at what you're creating here. Suppose you wanted the front of the jacket to cross over. What you could do is you could go into tab. We'll select Shift D to duplicate this so we don't lose it, and we'll just roll the middle mouse button to zoom out. I'm going to hold Shift to the middle mouse button to pan, and I'll just pull this duplicate of this jacket over here. I'll zoom in back to this jacket, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to select it, and I am going to apply the mirror modifier, hit tab. So now there's no mirror modifier. So now what we do on one side won't be automatically done to the other side, which has its advantages. And some of those advantages are things like this. We can grab here, I'll hold Shift to select these edges here. And I'm gonna hit S to scale actually to pull these together and actually see how they actually cross over, like jackets often do. They're pulled over to be buttoned up or whatever. And then we'll just grab here and just pull out. So we're just right on the edge, and just with that you can see now we have this crossed over section, and then we have this weird thing here. We'll just grab here, we'll hit W, flip normals, and now that's Should be fine. This looks kind of weird here. Same thing. It's just, I don't like seeing things that don't look. Sometimes I don't care. This time I cared a little, so we'll hit W. Flip normal there. But you can see how you know, now we have this jacket actually crossing over, and by doing the mirror modifier, we were able to deal with that. And then of course, you know, we have this issue right here, the same issue you have when you're making clothes like this. It's very thin looking, so you would just select the edge, just like very similar to what we did before. And then of course you would just hit E to extrude on the y-axis, you know, take it back some, just to give it some thickness. Then we get an E to extrude and hit we actually can hit S to scale on the x-axis, and by scaling the x-axis, actually what happened was I actually pulled this edge here, pulled this way, this edge here pulled that way. And the way I did that was selecting both edges, and then I hit S to scale on the x-axis, and they just pulled towards each other. But that's how you can get, you know, some thickness there, and you can put more loop cuts in here, you know. The same thing here, you can select this edge, E to extrude on the y-axis, and E to extrude on the x-axis to kind of go behind it, just to give it some thickness. There is also another way called solidify. Yeah, so there we have a jacket there, you know. And you can imagine the more time you put into it, you can imagine the stuff that you can do with this cool stuff. It's fun. And then as you have your jackets and have your different clothes that you make up, you can save them and use them for other models. I'm actually going to zoom out. I'm going to take this jacket, pull this over here, grab this shirt kind of base. Actually, let me make another. Do I have that? Another duplicate just in case. Okay, and one of the other things you can do, I mean, so you can do a lot from this this simple model. I'm going to delete this right here. I'm just grabbing I'm on face select, and I'm just selecting the faces. I'm hitting X to delete the faces. Okay, suppose you wanted to do something like a ranger hood or something like that. What you do is grab just adjust these vertices right here. I'm just pushing and pulling them. Let me get rid of this extra from last time. So I'm going to hit X to bring up my delete menu, delete those faces there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, with the edge select on, I'm going to hold Alt to select these faces around there. It grabbed the whole loop that way, but not these. I'm going to hold Shift just to grab right there. Okay, now with those selected, what I'm going to do is hit E to extrude, left click to lock in. I just created new geometry, and that was so I can hit S to do this. I'm just going to pull this out some, and I'm actually going to turn off. You can see a lot of times it helps to turn this off because this thing gets crazy, as you can see, too crazy. And we got my vertice select and just adjust this right here. So, alright, so now we're going to go to our edge select. We're going to hold Alt, select around here. We're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. Take this up. We're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis yet again. We're going to hit R to rotate on the X axis. We're going to hit S to scale to bring this in some. Like that. I'm actually, yeah, at this point we can use our mirror modifier, and it'll make that link there. So we'll turn this on so we can see what's going on. I'll put another loop cut in there. And what we'll do now is we'll hit Z, hit A to deselect. I'm going to hold Control and my right mouse button just to grab this whole part of this hood right here. That's something I love, like Rangers type characters. They always have their, their bows and their hood. So what I'm doing now is I just hit S to scale. Now I'm going to hit S to scale on the X axis, and I'm just using this to bring this hood in. And I'm actually going to, with this selected here, I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to hold shift and grab these other faces. I'm actually going to push this forward some so I can see where the head's at. Okay, it's right there. And I can actually hit S to scale on the Y axis to bring it back some. Then S to scale on the X axis. I'm just bringing it into it, towards his head. I'll hit S to scale on the Y axis. Pull it back so his head's in there. But yeah, you can see, from this closed thing, again, you have to deal with the thin issue. And actually, I think I will. One way to get out of the thin issue without like doing that, the edge, how we did the edge and the extrusions. There's another option to get rid of this super paper thin areas, and what we can do is we can go to our modifier, and then we can go to solidify. And then with solidify selected, what we can do is we can I think it's giving us problems because it's so low down. We're actually gonna see these arrows here. You can move your modifier up and down, and when it's moved up and down and your modifier stack, it affects different things. When you click up, and just by clicking it up above the subdivision, it stopped that problem. See how thin that is right there? I can this right here, I'll pull this out. This right here, this is our solidify modifier. You can see right here it says thickness. So I can just grab here, and basically what it's doing is it's making the cloth not be thin. Where this was thin, like if I select the I to hide the solidify modifier, I'm going to hit A. So that's not on there. But if I hit A, you see that how thin it is? And then when I hit this I, so that's another way of getting thick. Though sometimes it can cause problems, but it is a quick way of getting thickness. And for those of you who have listened to me go through all this other stuff, here's your reward, because this next thing I'm going to show you is very cool. Very, very cool. I'm going to hit tab to go into object mode. I'm going to grab this and pull this out of the way. I'll grab the startup shirt. Now, one of the things you might notice with these different shirts and outfits and whatever, I'm just gonna hit tab. Let me hit Alt S. This a little bit bigger. I'm just gonna hit S to scale on the Y axis. And now I'm not gonna do that. Let me grab his actual neck. I'm gonna hold Alt. I'm gonna edge select. I'm gonna select this edge right here, and I'm gonna hit O to open up a proportional edit. I don't think we used this whole time we've been in there. Normally I use this thing constantly. I'm actually going to hit a face select. I'm going to select holding shift in my middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hold Alt and select all these faces right here. When I hit G, see that little bubble there? What that bubble, that circle is that's an area of influence. So instead of controlling just that orange you see, that this proportional edit actually allows me to scale multiple edges and faces. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to hit S to scale. You see that as I roll the mouse wheel, it'll scale multiple areas of influence, which is pretty stinking cool actually. This part actually doesn't matter, the fact that it looks weird like that, and I'll show you why. This is very cool. Alt S. Turn this off. I'll hit O to turn that proportional edit off. I'm gonna hit Alt S and just basically make this bigger. This I'm actually gonna delete. thickness that we have here. So I think it's going to cause me problems. We're almost through it. Almost through this stuff. Should have probably deleted it before. There we go. Now now that this is a separate object, I'll just grab a face select. I'll hit Control L, and then I'll be able to delete all that. And I'm going to go to edge select. I'm going to select this edge here. I'm going to hit S to scale. And hit that was scaling with no axis. Now I'm going to hit S to scale on the X axis. I'm just going to push this down. S to scale on the Y axis, not too close to his neck. And this stuff right here, I'll just grab it, push it in a little bit. One of the things that you might be sitting there saying, "Oh my gosh, that looks atrocious," and it does, because for this part right here, it doesn't matter too much. See that little part in there? I didn't even notice when I hit Control L. Grab that and hit X and delete the faces for that. Okay, let me grab this bottom part. Again, if you're on face select and you hold Alt and select on an edge, you can grab all the edges right there, or all the faces there. Let me hide my body and temporarily just moving that out of the way. Okay, we're going to move on to the last thing that I'm going to show you guys, which is possibly the coolest thing. And here, though I think the basic techniques of knowing how to do clothing and outfits is actually pretty cool, but this, I'm telling you, this is actually very cool. So we're in object mode. I'm just zooming out. I'm holding Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm just pulling that off. I'm going to take this shirt. I'm zooming in by rolling my middle mouse button, Shift in the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hit Tab. I'm going to temporarily turn off the subdivision surface by clicking this eye. And we actually want to get rid of the thickness here for this next thing. So I'm going to hold Alt with this face select on. I'm going to select this edge right here. And I'm going to hit X to delete those faces there. Just select right here, hit Control L to grab all that, hit X to delete those faces there. Same thing here, hold Alt right on the edge. See, I'm aiming right for that edge. It's not working. There it goes. I'm holding Alt, it grabs the whole edge loop. I can just hit X to delete those faces there. Bottom here, I'm going to hold Alt, select those faces there, hit X to bring it to delete menu, delete those faces there. And I'm also going to hold Alt, select right. Sometimes you're, okay, I see it. There you go. Hit X to delete these faces here. So now we have it nice and, thin. And you'll see why in a minute. This really is cool. If you haven't seen this before, I think you'll be extremely pleased, because it is, I'm sorry, it's ridiculously cool. So let me stop babbling and actually show it to you. So we're going to push this shirt down here. Back on him. I'm going to roll in with the E mouse button. Okay, basically one of the things with the clothing you see here, one of the issues is where's the wrinkles at? It's pretty much there's no wrinkles. Now there's a way to do low poly wrinkles that I was actually working on. It works pretty good for low poly clothing that I thought was pretty cool. However, this way is quick, it is very easy, and it is effective, and it's actually it's amazing. It's actually amazing. I'm just going to select this loop, hit S to scale, just give a little bit of distance right there. I'm going to hit Control R put a loop cut here and just pull in right there. When I go to face select, I'm just still setting up. Face select right here. Grab these, push these down so they're not in on his neck. I just don't want it, the shirt actually touching him. So grab here. Okay, so here it is. What we're going to do is we're actually going to use Blender's cloth physics to put the wrinkles in here. This is yet another David Ward trick. The man is impressive, and this is pretty cool. Anyway, the way we're going to do it, you're going to hit tab to go in back into object mode. Okay, what you're going to do is you are going to apply your mirror modifier. So you're just going to click apply here. So now it's applied. You're then going to hold your middle mouse button. If you can't see your physics button like I can't, you're going to pull it to the side. This thing looks like a microphone is your physics button. You click here. With this shirt selected, you select cloth. Just by doing that little bit, Blender has applied physics that make this t-shirt respond like it's actual cloth. This playhead right here is what determines animation in Blender. Basically what happens is this is set from 1 frame to 250 frames, right? When I hit play, that shirt starts to fall because it has cloth physics applied to it. So gravity is affecting the shirt. What we're going to do is we're going to use this shirt to generate wrinkles that pretty much are exactly like real wrinkles, because it's going to respond exactly like, almost exactly like real cloth. Amazingly like real cloth. As a matter of fact, one thing we do need to do is we're gonna come back in here very quickly. We already have the cloth modifier, the cloth physics applied. We're gonna hit W, subdivide 1 time. We're gonna come out. Don't worry about the squarish look. Now what we're gonna do? Oops, we're gonna hit tab. We're gonna go back in. We're gonna select these 2 faces right here. We're going to click this triangle looking thing right here, and we see when we click this, we come to vertex groups, right? Vertex groups is empty. We're going to select plus. So first you come to vertex groups, then plus, then you see group, right? Now after group appears, you double click this, name it whatever you want. I'm going to name this C pen for cloth plan. You hit enter. Don't leave. This is selected, right? We added this, but it still isn't applied yet. To apply it, you have to hit assign. Now these 2 faces are assigned to this C pinning right here. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into object mode. We're going to go to our physics tab with the shirt selected. See where it says pinning? We're going to click pinning, and then we're going to click these little, looks like a snowflake almost. We're going to click here, and then you're going to select cloth pinning. Okay, now make sure you can see the top of your physics bar. Select the body, the male mesh, and then select collision. Okay, now with all that done, I'm going to zoom back so you can see. I'm going to roll the middle mouse button. Now we'll make sure you're at the beginning of your timeline. You can click here. It'll take you back to the beginning. Hit play. And it's going slow because there's a bunch of, polygons on the screen. But basically what's going on is Blender has put cloth physics on that shirt, and the shirt now has weight to it. We subdivided it so it would have a decent amount of detail. See the wrinkles right there? When we came out and we selected this and hit collision, what we did was we made it so that this cloth is actually hanging on this male mesh model. So as far as the wrinkles don't get much more real than that, because they're actually generated wrinkles, which is very, very cool. And basically what Blender is doing is, as it's going through this timeline, it's just calculating this cloth falling. The first time we sat there and we set it to go, it fell because it didn't have a collision. Now because it has this body, now it is it's giving us wrinkles, and it's doing pretty much what I wanted to do, right? So you see how slow it. My computer is pretty strong, and you see how slow it's making the computer run. So you might sit there and say, well, it's running slowly. What's the big deal? I'm not interested in animation, or I'm not interested in having the computer run that slow. I'm going to pause it here, and then I'm going to turn and see once once it stops, you can see that you know, my computer is back to regular speed, but yet we have wrinkles. And you can imagine if you spent more time how you can plan this out. But the wrinkles look real because in effect they are, for the most part, real. There's a small mistake right here, but without getting into all that. So the cool thing isn't so much the fact that Blender could do that. If Blender could do that and you were stuck and you couldn't do anything with it, it would be like, okay, that's a cool trick, but I really can't use it. Well, check this out. What we can do is normally if I went into edit mode, this would disappear, and all of these the physics that Blender did would be gone, you know, because it's the cloth is set up to you know, fall like with gravity. Like I said, I learned this from David Ward. It's an awesome trick. So we have our wrinkles, right? And you know, the more time you spend, your typical thing, you'll get better results the more time you spend. Like you could spend more time setting up the cloth physics and adjusting the shirt. You know, you can even, it's kind of fun to play with it to see how it falls. Anyway, to keep it with these wrinkles, what you do is you click your modifier button. I thought I had applied that. Anyway, you're going to take your a second. Oh, I know. I'm selecting the body. I'm looking for where's my shirt. Select your shirt. Okay, there we go. So what we're actually going to do with this is we're actually going to push this up. We're going to push this cloth modifier up to be the top after we apply. We're going to actually apply the subdivision surface. So we're going to click apply. So now that's actually applied to that cloth physics shape. Now we're going to select right here where it says apply as shape key. So we select here. You see how it jumped back to this? The reason why it jumped back to this is because Blender has a way of animating from shape keys. So it made this a shape key so we don't lose it as we maneuver around in Blender. So we go to here where the triangle button's at. We scroll down. And then you can see right here, shape keys. You click this cloth right here. And then you have this value button right here, and as you take this value up, now you have your wrinkled shirt. Okay, guys, that's it for the tutorial. For all you out there who like this channel and reshare the videos on this channel, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. To those of you who are new to this channel, if you like these videos and you would like to see more, please subscribe, and thank you for viewing.